you'll get a little pop.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Live.
Hey, there we are.
Welcome to the internet. Oh my, there goes. Where's my voice? Welcome to the internet, Hebsy.
Welcome to the internet. Here I am. Oh, there it is. There.
Okay, you're live. I'm going to do my tweeting stuff. Address your red carpet faithful.
Hello, red carpet faithful. Hebsy here, and welcome. It's Black Friday. We should have had the song Black Friday by Steely Dan, but I mean, like, everyone's been doing that for the last, I don't know, 40 years, right? Oh, it's Black Friday. Did anybody know a Black Friday song? Hey, and it means it's completely, the whole Black Friday thing is, Black Friday sales started 3 weeks ago, didn't they?
Yeah, the internet changed the whole thing.
The whole, we're going to the state. You and I are both like right after today's show, like literally as soon as the show ends, we're like out the door to different destinations. I think the way it's planned, like we're going to try to do 45 minutes. And then I think I have an Uber outside my house. Like I'm going to send you the file and run to the Uber and then get my ass to Mimico Station and then to Union and get out of here. I don't want you to run, but anyway, we've tailored the show.
I'm fit. I can run.
We've tailored the show. Yes, you are. It fits.
I'll have a heart attack. I
don't want to know. I don't want to know Qatar, Senegal. Okay. Like, please.
Oh,
radio silence. Don't want to know.
Okay.
Don't tell me anything about any of these. I've got 7 different recordings going. I got games that I haven't watched the end of, which I'm going to have to find a way to, and I have to find a way to get the Canada games while I'm in the US this weekend.
You're like Jerry Seinfeld, you answer the phone saying, don't tell me the Mets score. I have it on tape. Like it's.
Yeah, I don't want to know. I don't want to know from anyone. So radio silence on that particular one. Because if I'm on the air, I don't want to, I don't need this kind of like, oh, by the way, Senegal just scored it, they on kicks. I don't want that. The other day, when was it? I'm doing some shopping and I hear this roar go out on College Street, this roar. And I'm thinking, France is playing and they must have scored. It must be France. It's got to be with a roar like that. Right? And I'm trying to find like which spot, because there's a Portuguese place there. Of course, the Italians now have to decide who they want to root for. It's not going to be Portugal. It's Canada for sure. Of course, that's a given. But like, who else? And there's people that are interested in games that just aren't from those countries. They're just interested in the World Cup, which I find the most fascinating, because I don't think in the World Series, I'd be that interested in, I don't know, a couple of obscure teams.
You might be, because it is the World
obscure teams, though. This is different. Like if someone said, oh, by the way, the Rochester Red Wings are in the World Series, that's sort of what it's like when you're like, Qatar. Like, what's the baseball equivalent of Qatar? There isn't one. Right?
Right.
Anyway, that's just the thing.
All right, Hebsy, before you forget, because we're going to be rocking and rolling today, you have a tweet to retweet. You have a tweet.
You entertain the masses, and I will retweet the tweet that you tweeted.
All right, I will entertain the masses.
Is Twitter still working? By the way, Twitter is still alive.
Twitter's still.
I heard rumors. I saw these hashtags. Rumors.
It's still going. Still working. Wayne Brown. I got to shout out my boy Wayne Brown, because it's not a Friday till he shouts it. He checks in from Lethbridge. So that's how I know it's time to start Hebsy on Sports. And he's right there. So I think 2 hours time difference, if I'm correct. I think Lethbridge.
Of course it is. But you know that because your wife's from Edmonton, right?
Yeah, I know.
You know that.
I said 2 hours. I know.
Yeah, you knew those things. Hey, this kilometers, you got everybody going with this kilometers and imperial versus all the different types of measurements, right?
Well, I can tell you, you want to save it for the show, or do you want I can burn it right now, but it's to me.
You better burn it now because it's a short show.
Generational thing. It's a generational thing, man. I can tell you, most Gen Xers who were raised with metric do metric for kilometers. We do metric for like temperature. We speak Celsius.
Well, that's because all the road signs and all the, it's all in Celsius. Of course, that's a given. But it's been like that for 50, 40 years or whatever it is.
So right? I don't know. I don't really know what a mile is, and I don't know what Fahrenheit is. I know it from sports. Like if you're watching a Yankees game and they go at 65 degrees, like I have an idea, of course. Like I know if it's 90 degrees, it's really, really hot. Like I get that. But when it comes to weight, and it comes to height, I do think in feet and inches, and then I think in pounds.
Of course you do. Because when you're being told about athletes or whatever, when you get on the scale, what are you, 70, but 71K? Oh, geez, I just put on right. All the expressions have to do with pounds and miles and that kind of a thing, right? So you don't know what a mile is, but you do. 4 laps around the track is a mile.
It's
it may be
1.6K.
1,500 meters to you because if it's a race, but again, it's a
Right.
mile. Walk a mile in my shoes. So all of that, I get you. And there's lots of people that go, oh, I don't know what it means, but it sounds good. I could see for miles. Sounds good. Miles,
Right.
it's
one syllable, like miles.
I know. I got you.
I can see for kilometers.
I get you.
And
No.
UK,
I know. Anyway.
The UK does a lot of older measurements. Like they talk about how many stone.
Yeah. Well, that's because there's a lot more old people in the UK. Doesn't it seem that way to you? That the really, really old people they're from the UK. They're hanging on to these traditions, like the monarchy.
Right.
Like it's really old people, right? It's not so much the young. It's the old people hanging on. But it was like that in our parents' generation and grandpa. It's always like that. The old people, look, we've been around for years. Look at all the changes we've gone through. I don't know what they were like in the 5th century, but the way things have changed, how rapidly they've changed in the last, 5 minutes, never mind the last 5 years, is remarkable. We're going to talk some sports here, buddy.
Yeah. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Brian. Okay, let's get some Los Lobos loaded up here, and let's do our thing. Hebsy man, here we go.
Hey there, sports fans. Welcome to the podcast. It's Hebsy on Sports, episode 311, 311. Is that a code? Isn't that a code for call the city? Like if there's a dead raccoon on your street, that's what you do, 311?
That's right. Yeah.
All right. It's a dead raccoon episode. All right. Beautiful. Mark Hebsy here along with Toronto Mike. We're about to talk about the passing of the king, the World Cup, the Maple Leafs, the Raptors, the Buffalo Bills, Toronto BlueJays, Alek Manoah versus Gerrit Cole. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. That's going to be fun. Much more. It's the U.S. Thanksgiving. It's Turkey Day. It's the day after Turkey Day. It's holiday weekend. It's Black Friday. It's football frenzy, college football today. It's nuts. This is the best holiday of the year, and the Americans know what they're doing. This and the 4th of July. They know what they're doing. Canadians, we don't know what we're doing when it comes to Thanksgiving. When is it again? Is it a Monday? Is it a holiday? Is it going to be nice outside? Is it going to be nice out? Americans, it's a 4-day affair. It's actually 5-6 days when you think about it, because Wednesday, the travel day, because you got to get to your destination by Thursday, is nuts.
But you don't think it's too close to Christmas where everybody?
No, it's perfect. Anyway? No, it's the holiday season. Okay, it's the season. The beauty of it is that once this is over, once Thanksgiving is over and done with, and the turkey's been packed away and the football's been watched and it's back to work and like nose to the grindstone, because Christmas is in 3 weeks. Christmas is 3 weeks after Thanksgiving. The beautiful thing is this is when we like to go to the United States, and this is a good time to vacation because the rates are down because the Americans aren't traveling. They just did their whole thing. They just got home.
Do you have a trip planned?
They've just cleaned up. They're not going anywhere now, right? Because they got to get geared up because at Christmas they're going to be traveling again in a lot of cases. So this is when we go away. So we're heading off to Pinehurst for a golf vacation right as soon as this show is over. You're going to Mimico. You're going to the Mimico station and then to Montreal.
Station, yeah.
Montreal by train.
Right.
Beautiful. Okay, we're getting in the car and we're going to Pinehurst.
Mimico to Union to Montreal.
Piece of cake. Easy for you. Lovely.
I'll be there in 5 hours.
But you've been in the new train station, haven't you?
I don't think so.
Oh my God! Really? You haven't taken the? Oh, it's beautiful.
We had a pandemic. I didn't go anywhere.
Oh, Mike, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll love it. You'll love it. All right. And so that's your weekend celebration. It's not because it's not a holiday weekend here, although sometimes we think it should be.
No, man, this is literally just, I want to see Michelle's where my daughter's living.
Where is she? She's near McGill?
She's at McGill residence.
Oh, she's in res at McGill.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that area very well. Yeah. I lived right off the McGill campus in the McGill ghetto, it's called. Yeah. For a couple of years when I worked in radio in Montreal. That was 40 odd years ago. That's 42, 43 years ago. And it was fun then. Anything around the McGill area is, it's good.
I'm looking forward to it, Hebsy. So we getaway day. We got lots to cover here.
All right, let's go. All right. So we're going to get into soccer in a second, but first we have to talk about the passing of Borje Salming. While we expected it, we didn't expect it this fast. Like he was just here 2 weeks ago. Less than. He was here for the weekend, and then he made one more public appearance in Sweden, and he felt the love. He felt the love of everyone, and then he died peacefully, I think. Daryl Sittler believes that Borje Salming died a happy man. at the age of 71, knowing how much he was loved, how much he was appreciated by his fans. He didn't have to guess. He knew. He was well aware. And he gave it right back to us. And man, may he rest in peace. May his memory be a blessing. The great Borje Salming. Who would be phoning me during the show?
Phoning. I will say there's a great photo. I only saw it for the first time yesterday, but it was Tiger Williams, Daryl Sittler, Lanny McDonald, and Borje Salming just last two weekends ago. But outside Maple.
Yeah, outside the Gardens. Yeah, Borje's in a wheelchair. Borje was in a wheelchair. That's another thing. Before Borje's performance, I had said that because it was believed that that he was wheelchair bound essentially. And the way I understand it is from a number of people is it's incredible if you're going to be in public and other people are going to see you, how much resolve you can have wanting to be distinguished looking, not wanting to look weak, not wanting to look frail. And if you're in a wheelchair, okay, and he was, and to say, no, I'm going to be standing. I'm not going to appear in front of all these people in a wheelchair. The courage it took in the first place to be shown publicly with a condition such as his is incredible. We knew he was a brave guy, but I mean, that takes real courage because most people are going to say, no, I don't want to be seen in public, people to see me this way. I want them to remember me as a strapping hockey player and, physical specimen, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, fabulous, wonderful guy, story. Listen, there's stories that I have in me, but I could never tell people. They're very personal, and what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas and all that stuff. But man, he had a great quick smile. He would have this hangdog look on his face. And if he saw me or something would happen, it was a great smile, but it wasn't always like that, man. He was very guarded. He didn't speak English hardly at all when he first came to Canada. His wife spoke very, very good English and spoke for them. And then he learned English just from being around the guys. And watching, I don't know, WKRP or whatever, but just, that's how you pick things up. He was very much against the media. He did not want anything known about his private life. I don't think there was much for the first few years. There was nothing about Salming's private life. You knew nothing about this guy. And then I think after a few years, because he came here, he was 22 years old. So by the time he was 25, he was a solid, all-star caliber defenseman, right? He was in his prime, 1976, let's say, 75, 76, 77, 78, 9. He was fantastic. And, but not a lot known about him. Not a lot known. And he was very shy, very reticent to talk to the media. Number one, he wasn't comfortable with speaking English in the first place. But secondly, this just wasn't his nature. He was from northern Sweden. His father used to herd reindeer. Like he's a Lapland, way up there. So for him to come to Toronto, which as it is now, like the hockey center of the universe, and the first Swede, like who is this guy? He went through a lot of abuse. May he rest in peace, Borje Salming. Now to the World Cup. Canada behind the 8 ball after that loss to Belgium. 8 is about how many shots they had within 3 minutes.
Right.
Did you not think, oh my God, look at this team. This is against Belgium. We're going to kill these guys. No, because we don't have finishers like Belgium has. One chance for Belgium, one great finish, 1-0, and that's it. So, with that out of the way, sort of, we get Croatia. We got to worry about Croatia now. Okay, these guys were the runners up in 2018. This is a good team, but they're aging, as most of these nations are. You got these veteran guys who've been there for years and years and years, but they know how to play as a team very well. So you got Luka Modric, who's like 36 or 37, Ivan Perisic, who's, in his, I guess, about 33, 34. And so, I think Coach John Herdman is going to, first of all, I think he made an egregious error by providing this bulletin board material. He should not have said this. This is what, I guess this is okay during the World Cup. I think it's disrespectful, but what do I know? All right. I'm not a world soccer aficionado, but I do think that when you say, Canada's going to F Croatia, we're going to F Croatia. He didn't say fuck. He said, we're going to F Croatia. And the Croatians see this and go, what? who does he fucking think he is? If I'm Croatia, I'm like, oh, fuck, man. That's just fuel for the fire. And now, Mike, I think Canada is favored. I think what we've done here in the media, we've gone, whoa, we should have beaten Belgium, the number 2 ranked team in the world, had them on their heels, 14 shots on blah, blah, blah. You know, look at how fast we are. Look at how good we are. If we can only finish. And now people are expecting us to at least draw with Croatia and for sure beat Morocco. Like, oh, yeah. I don't think so. I'm worried that I hate to say this, but one of the best things I saw was somebody had posted, what was the biggest upset? You know, the first week, was it Japan?
Saudi Arabia.
Whatever. Was it Saudi Arabia or was it Canada over Belgium? Like, that's the way it was listed. Like, it was an upset, right?
Oh, I thought that was a joke.
No, Belgium over Canada. It was a joke. The upset was Belgium beat Canada.
Right.
Because in the first half, it looked like there was no way they could beat us.
Right.
And so just going on that, we're going, oh my God, we've got the talent. We had the shots on goal. They're the second best team in the world. How can we not do the same thing against Croatia and score? How can we not do the same thing against Morocco and score?
Right.
Even though we haven't scored, and even though the TSN panel just roasted Herdman for terrible coaching, and why was Alphonso Davies taking that penalty? And Kevin Kilbride, who fucking played once for Ireland, is like, oh, the coach, it's always decided before we go on the pitch. It's always decided before we go on the pitch who's going to take the penalty. You know, and Davies, he's not an experienced penalty taker. You know, Lewandowski takes those penalties. P.S. Lewandowski also got beat on he also missed the penalty. P.S. Jonathan David. Well, Jonathan David, he missed 2 fucking headers. Well, he was so great that Jonathan David was going to score for sure. 9 out of 12 against French goalies, which I don't think was right. I don't think the percentage was even that good. As I think Jay Onright, or was it Tim McAuliffe pointed out that I think it was Tim that pointed out it wasn't even that. I was like, oh, okay. So it's not automatic that you're going to score on a penalty kick. It's about 70 to 75% at that level, right?
Right.
And why not Davies? Like, okay, he made a poor kick, but like, come on. If it wasn't Davies and it was Jonathan David and he missed, they would be roasted. How could you not? Davies is your blah, blah, blah. Right. So you can't win. You can't win when it comes to missing a penalty. It happens. The greatest players in the world have missed penalties. Okay.
It's the divine pigtail.
It's just that every other shot besides that, we had so many more chances. The chances that David and Kyle Larin had in the box with headers were better chances to score than Davies on a penalty kick. They were. Those are from 5 feet, man. Those are from 6 yards, 5 yards inside the 6-yard box, not from 12 yards away. Okay. I mean, come on. So we had lots of chances.
Hebsy, when they announced the schedule, I blocked this time in my calendar so nobody can book me. I'm going to watch every minute of this match. And the magic of being able to, I've been watching World Cup since 1990, and I've never had this opportunity to watch my Canadian squad in a World Cup match. I really savored every minute, and I was standing for most of that match, and Fantastic. It was quite something to be on the world's biggest stage. It was magic.
It was fantastic. Here's what happened with me at the corner, Cafe Diplomatico, wild people are lining up, and I'm saying to myself, well, I'm okay, but quite frankly, I want to watch by myself. I want to hear what the announcers have to say. I don't want to have some jerk, shut up. I want to watch the game. You're right. And that's what you risk sometimes in that. Now, if it's the final and I feel as if I want to be with my peeps and we're all Canadians wearing Canadian colors, or that's fine. But in this case here, at 2:00 in the afternoon, I'm like, you know what? And I just surveyed the situation. I watched the first couple of minutes, and then I just walked home, which is, a 2-minute walk from the dip, just because I didn't want to get into one of the, if I was frustrated, for example, by, they're missing. Right. I didn't want some jerk next to me going, or saying something that was going to trigger me. So right. And I sat in front of my television and I just yelled and screamed, and I stood up the whole time.
Yeah,
it was great.
Great. So great effort. We were under.
Oh man, the effort's there. We've got to have the finish, baby. We've got to have the finish. Right. All right. So, but I thought the TSN panel was just too tough. It was like you're expecting Canada to Oh, the way they're playing, like, oh, we're going to run these guys like right out of the arena. No.
Like if we remove our bias for a minute, we're the heavy underdogs against the Belgians. We are probably definitely the underdogs against Croatia. And there's a thought we could maybe pull a draw with Morocco, but we got stuck with this great run to qualify where we forget that there are better teams in other parts of the world. Well, like I feel like we forgot, like, oh, it's not all.
Well, let's put it this way. If I would have said to you, do you think we're going to beat Belgium? You would have said, probably not.
No,
so we didn't. So we didn't.
Right.
Do you think we can tie Croatia? Yeah. Yeah. Do you think we can beat Morocco? Yeah. That's what now we're thinking. No, we're going to beat Croatia and we're going to beat Morocco anyway, we'll get into it. It's very exciting. Today is going to be really exciting because the Americans are taking on England. That's the marquee matchup this afternoon. Americans drew with Wales in their opener when Gareth Bale scored on a penalty to tie things. And then Wales lost today to Iran 2-0. In the 98th minute and the 101st minute or something like that. Like there's a lot of added time. Like as soon as the 90 minutes is over, it's like a minute. It's like 8 minutes. Like what? And when I watch English soccer or whatever, it's a 2 minutes maybe at the half, 3 minutes maybe tops, but 8 minutes, crazy. So England, who beat Iran, by the way, 6-2 in their first match, they're going to be tough to beat. The Americans and England, that's going to be tough. Are you rooting for the Americans if Canada, with Canada in their group? Do you want them to win in their group?
No, I dislike the American squad. No.
And why is that?
I think the brash, arrogant Americans, I don't want them to be successful. They've got their sports. I don't want them to be successful in soccer too.
If I get fucking pulled over in the US and the guy goes, "Oh, Hebsy, Toronto, Mike, step out of the car. I want to talk to you a little bit. Hands behind your back. What was your partner saying about Americans that were what? What was that word?
Arrogant and brash. They probably own that. They'd be like, "Yep." They would not disagree.
And Brits are not arrogant and brash. When it comes to soccer, they can be though. Like sort of like we know more than you. You guys know hockey, but we know soccer.
England's got a bit of that Maple Leaf fan thing, right? Like they haven't won in so long. It's just sort of like lovable losers at this point. So,
but also in Canada, everybody knows somebody with an English accent. They're on TV all over. The Luke Wildman, or you got Stephen Caldwell, who's Scottish. We're used to that,
right?
The Americans aren't used to. Hey, where are you from? Get the fuck out of here, right? They think they know everything. The Maple Leafs broke New Jersey's 13-game win streak the other night. Talk about a great game. That was a great game, even though the Devils had 3 goals disqualified, and their fans threw full beers on the ice. Oh my God!
That's expensive.
Not frozen waffles. Okay, not a hat or a pennant or a galosh. A full can of beer, like it's the 7th inning against Texas in 2015. Right. There's babies sitting down there. What the hell? That's wild, eh? That's what. Like seriously, if the Leafs had at home 3 goals called back, 3. Right. On the third one, what would you expect from the fans in Toronto? What would you expect?
They'd be throwing their sushi on the ice.
Would they litter the ice? Would they do that? Are we not? I don't know.
What do you think?
Environmentally conscious? I don't know. Whatever it is.
No. The Leaf.
But all it takes is, you're serving alcohol there, are you? How many beers have you had? It's like the famous guy who threw the beer at the outfielder at the Skydome, and they had to get the Zapruder film out to figure out who he was.
Oh boy.
Like it's just in a moment of outrage, your team just got ripped off. VAR just ripped you off from a goal in the World Cup, let's say. Right?
Right.
But in this case, it's a regular season game and you've had 3, and the rules are the rules. He kicked at it. It did, whatever. It just 3 of them happened in the same game. Never seen that before. But I've also never seen a hockey team leave the ice because they were being pelted with debris. Right. I've never seen it, ever. Leaving the bench. Get the hell out of there. You're going to get hit. That's fucked, man. That should have been a minor penalty against the New Jersey Devils because the home team's responsible, right? Should have been a penalty against New Jersey. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, I like Matt Murray in goal. I like him. And I think he makes Shalgren a better goalie too. This is going to be better than we thought. Leaf goaltending, better than we thought. Murray's a steadying presence. He's a bit awkward looking. A bit kind of all over the place, little
gangly, right? Like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Oh yeah, of course. Was Shaggy a goalie? I don't remember that.
I think so.
See, now with Morgan Riley out of the lineup, this is your classic case of, all right, let's see what kind of team we got. Let's see when your top players are injured, let's see how good you are. How good, especially on the back line. Let's see. Throw these guys into the fire. What's going on? Well, Matt Murray has come up huge because the chances that the opposition has had have been glorious. I'm not talking about, how many shots? 31. That didn't look like it. Man, dude, the shots seem to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, the quality shots from the opposition. Like they're like great chances. And he's turning them away. And I think it just gives great confidence to the defense saying, you know what, if we screw up, we got Matt Murray back there. So Murray's going to play this afternoon. No, sir. This afternoon. It's Friday. This afternoon.
2 p.m. game, I think.
2:00 game. So England against the U.S. in soccer and Leafs against Minnesota. I'll be on a train. No, I won't be on a train.
You'll be
on a train.
I hear the Wi-Fi is spotty at best, so I don't think.
You're taking Via. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
No, you'll be fine. You'll be okay.
Yeah,
you'll be okay. And plus, you've got a good phone there, don't you? Good.
Yeah. But if you've ever streamed a game like through Bell Fiber or whatever, it's a data chewer. Like it's like 10 gigs later.
Tell me about it. Are you kidding? What are you talking? We drove up to Muskoka one time, and Serena was driving, and I'm watching Spurs.
Right.
And in the middle of the game, like as they're about to score, right, I get this little warning saying, if it's gonna cost you $50 in game right now. Like I think there were two options. I think one was like $30 for like another 15 minutes. Right. Or it was $50 for like, and I was like, fuck, I don't care.
This is why cross your fingers, Hebsy, that there's a good Wi-Fi on this train, and I'll be watching all this action.
Can't you get it on audio? Can you get just the audio only?
I don't think so.
Oh, you've got to be able to stream the audio. That would take a lot less.
Yeah. Oh, for
data,
sure.
Right?
For sure.
Right.
I'll see what I can do. I got 5 hours.
And let me know too, because I'll be traveling in a different. And I need to see what's going on.
I'll let you know, man.
All right.
I'll report back.
Okay. So anyway, Murray's the starter today. And then tomorrow they're in Pittsburgh against the Penguins, but it's not your basic back-to-back where it's like one night, then the next night. It's an afternoon game. So they're out of there earlier. They're going to be in Pittsburgh like later tonight, have dinner there probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll have the whole day tomorrow. So it could be Murray back-to-back in goal, even though it says that Shalgren is expected on the Score app, but I don't believe that. I mean, expected. It's sort of like we're hoping it's Shalgren. It makes sense that it would be Shalgren.
You think that 5 hours makes that big a difference?
Because, I do.
Okay, I'm surprised by that. Like I would think
it's not the same kind. Listen, when you're out of that rink at 5:30 in the afternoon and on your way to Pittsburgh,
mm-hmm.
And your flight's leaving at 6. Let's say the game was at 2. Let's say your flight's at 6:30, and you're in Pittsburgh. You're in Pittsburgh for 8. Right now, you got the rest of the night, and then the next day you're going to sleep in. You may not even have a skate the next day, probably not. And then you're ready for an evening game. So that 5 hours difference or whatever. Yeah, that 5 hours would makes a big difference. So it could be. We'll see how he comes out of the game. The Leafs are in Detroit then on Monday, right? So it's like, okay, Minnesota Friday, and then Pittsburgh Saturday, and then you play your Saturday game, and then Sunday is a rest day in Pittsburgh. Probably watch the Steelers play or whatever. And then later Sunday they fly to Detroit, which is a nothing flight. And then they're in Detroit for Monday, and they come home and host the San Jose Sharks on Wednesday. That's their schedule. Then there's the Raptors. I mean, they got some serious injury problems. 3-7 in their last 10 games. They're 9-9 on the season. They're fighting the injury bug, trying to navigate their way through the schedule. The Odyssey continues tomorrow afternoon, 5:00 tomorrow at the Scotiabank Arena. So 5:00 tomorrow afternoon, Raps hosting the Dallas Mavericks and the great Luka Doncic, who went off for 42 points against Boston the other night, but they lost. Meanwhile, the Raptors had only 10 healthy players in their loss to Brooklyn. I swear I thought for a second that Drake was going to come off the bench. And they didn't have anybody. They had nobody.
Oh, no. Nobody. Have you seen him shoot?
You don't want him. Oh, that's the trainer. No, he can't play. 10. That was it. Okay? No Fred VanVleet, no Scotty Barnes, no Otto Porter, no Precious Achua, no Delano Banton, no Pascal Siakam. I'm missing a couple of guys. Siakam's missed his 9th game in a row, by the way. Like, what are you going to do? Well, you can't, you just have to fight your way through it. They're doing their best. They were no match for Brooklyn the other night. I didn't hear about the reception that Kyrie Irving got. I'm assuming it was nothing. There was no big deal about it. It was none, right? Although after the post-game interview that he did, he says, they go, what do you want to say? It's Thanksgiving. Where are you going for Thanksgiving? He goes, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. But for those who, I'm thinking, well, you don't celebrate, like, you're an American. What do you mean you don't celebrate? It's not even, it's a non-denominational holiday. Am I right?
Ours for sure. Theirs is a little pilgrimy. Like it's a little bit of that pilgrim.
So what are we saying here? Like, I don't understand, like, what I don't celebrate it, meaning I like just, he didn't grow up celebrating Thanksgiving. Like, I don't get that. I don't get that. Yeah. I mean, I can see someone who they don't celebrate Christmas because they're not of that faith or whatever.
Well, that makes sense.
That's faith-based, right? In a way. But
100%.
Is Thanksgiving? Is it? Like, I don't know this. Like,
I don't think
if you're American, you celebrate Thanksgiving, right? If you're an American Italian, if you're an American Japanese American, if you're a African American, if you're a Korean American, if you're an American, you don't celebrate like what? What's the
I thought Thanksgiving was the big one because it didn't matter what religion you were.
Right, that's what I mean. So when he said that, first of all, it's like, oh, come on. Like, you're not going to say, oh, I like turkey and gravy. You're going to say, I don't celebrate. But for those who do, like, that's weird. Anyway.
Well, I know. I say this. I know Jehovah's Witnesses who don't do Halloween. Like, there are some states that have, like, we don't do things like that. Yeah. Okay. Like, fun is not allowed.
Well, that seems to be Kyrie Irving's MO.
Right.
Like, fun is not allowed. It's not having fun. The Buffalo Bills have had quite a week, and their fans too. I told you about my buddy from St. Catharines, right? He goes, it took him 3 hours and 20 minutes to get from St. Catharines to Detroit to see the Bills beat the Browns last Sunday. Comes home after the game, works a few days, leaves Thursday morning, okay, at like 10 o'clock in the morning or 9 or whatever it was, and drives to Detroit again to see the Bills beat, this time Detroit, okay, the home team, as Tyler Bass kicked a 45-yard field goal with 2 seconds left to give them a 28-25 victory. Seconds after Detroit had kicked a field goal to tie the game with like 23 seconds to go. And the announcer is going, and I'm watching this game, I'm streaming this game, I'm streaming this game on my phone while I'm walking on Bloor Street. And every time they take a timeout, I'm like, oh, Jesus, this is costing me, right? Because the timeouts take like 5 minutes, and then they're going to ice the kicker in another timeout. And then I hear Tony Romo go with 23 seconds to go. He says, oh, that's plenty of time for Josh Allen. He can get 5 plays in. And I'm thinking, come on, let's go streaming. And I'm supposed to go into the subway now, and I can't go into the subway. I'll lose the stream.
Right.
And I'm standing outside the subway. Okay. I'm watching the game. And I must be gesticulating. Come on, like that. And a guy, a stranger, kind of, I make eye contact, and I'm Bill's game. I'm going, yeah. And he kind of is looking, and I'm sharing my screen with him now, standing at the corner of Bloor and Young, right? And we're watching the game, nodding to each other, like, what the hell? And then Bass kicks this 45-yarder, just kills it, like, beautiful, bang! And we both go, yeah. Looked at each other, fist pumped. I go down into the subway, turn off my thing because my data is costing me a fortune.
Right.
And there you go. And the Bills are 8-3. They're in first place in the AFC East, and all is well with the world. And they win 2 games in 5 days in Detroit.
See, this show's called Hebsy on Sports, but we could call this show Hebsy Loves Sports because you're the real deal, man. You love your sports. I love it.
I do, but I have to tell you, Mike, it's maybe it's age, whatever. It's just, it's a lot. It's hard. I don't know how these talk show hosts go out there every day for 2 hours, 3 hours, 1 hour every day and talk about the same 5 topics like every day.
Right.
It's like, okay, I think a World Cup, click, right? You got that Leafs, click, Raptors, click, Jays. This particular tweet that came out that gone, and then grind those out for the next 3-4 days until something else comes along, and then you put it away, and then you bring it back again.
Well, speaking of tweets about BlueJay acquisitions,
oh yeah, we'll get to that. But first, I wanted to.
I was setting you up. Okay.
No, I know. But first, I just wanted to mention that yesterday, while I watched 4 World Cup matches and 5 football games and whatever hockey, whatever else was yet. No, there was no hockey or basketball. I watched the Dallas Cowboys last night, or yesterday, I guess it was in the afternoon, beat the New York Giants 28-20. Great game. Exciting as hell. Phenomenal. And then even better, the Minnesota Vikings over New England 33-26 in last night's game, which ended like late. It was a fabulous football. It was really it just makes a sports fan love sports even more. But I was exhausted at the end of the day. Exhausted. It takes a lot out of you, man. Now, set me up. Go ahead.
Speaking of Twitter tweets about Blue Jays acquisitions.
Mm. Yeah, there's, I mean, there's someone who's going to come out. I could do it if I was just the average, ordinary guy. I could come out and say, the Blue Jays are going to sign John Schneider to a long-term deal. And you would go, oh, that makes sense. Right? Great season, got them to the playoffs. Everybody loves them.
Right.
Deserves it. Right? It's going to happen. There's no reason for them to wait. They're not going to look at any other managers. They're not even going to, entertain that. He's their guy. It's going to happen. So I'm going to tweet it out. And if I'm right, if it happens, beautiful. If it doesn't happen, that's okay. I'm a nobody. If it happens next week instead of tomorrow, I'm still okay because I got the timing wrong, but I knew they were going to sign it. So it's sort of like a psychic trying to guess, pretending that they know about someone's background.
Right.
Oh, your mother loved to cook. Yes. How did you know? It's a good start, right? That kind of thing. Oh, right. The Blue Jays are going to sign. What are the odds that the Blue Jays are going to sign John Schneider to a long-term deal? It's not going to be a one-year deal. It's going to be a multi-year deal. So it's pretty easy. So whoever this person was, they got it. And then when the Jays were looking for help because Bradley Zimmer wasn't doing the job, the same person went, oh, Jackie Bradley Jr., right? Now, for all I know, he tweeted 2 or 3 other names or did something else. But
which is the scam, right?
This is the thing. So he gets Jackie Bradley. So now this guy comes along and says, well, I don't want to say, but I'm just, I was right on this and I was right on this. And now everybody on Twitter is like, he was right. We don't know who he is. We know that he only follows 2 people. Mm-hmm. He only follows. Now, come on. If you got sources like that, you're following 2 people, right? Who is this guy? Come on. But our obsession with, and now before you know it, Blue Jays showing interest in blood. Of course they are. So are the Giants. So are this team. So is that team. So is the Yankees. So the Mets. Come on.
Right.
So after a while, it just gets to be. So Cody Bellinger, who, as most people know, was a fabulous player a few years ago and has completely lost it, has just lost it. And people are going, oh, no, the Jays, maybe a reclamation project. And I'm going, no, this isn't the guy we want. We're not going to cross our fingers and hope that Cody Bellinger is going to be the answer to our problems in center field. No, Nimmo. If you're going to go after the best guy. This guy would be a project. And we're not in a position where we want a project in center field. Oh, he's a great fielder, though. Okay, that's fine. But no, not Bellinger. No. And his agent already said he's only going to sign for 1 year. And it's Thanksgiving, too. Nobody signed. These deals are never done on Thanksgiving. The guy isn't getting up from his turkey dinner, unless it's Kyrie Irving. He's not getting up from his turkey dinner with his family to be told that, that he's going to sign with this team. That you got to get to New York because they're going to sign you. You got to get to Toronto for the media. No, it doesn't happen on Thanksgiving. So this guy took a shot and said, this weekend, the Jays are going to sign Cody Bellinger to a multi-year deal. I think he tweeted it on Monday. So he gave himself some time. So if it happened the next day, hey, beautiful, I got it. If it happens a week later, I had the timing wrong, but I said that they were going to sign. And if they don't sign Cody Bellinger, they were close, or we never hear from the guy again, or whatever. You can't have this. So you got to make sense. You got to believe that the Jays are doing their due diligence, and that yes, they're negotiating with more than one. They've probably got all kinds of deals going. And if that deal happens, then they're going to do this. And if that doesn't happen, then they'll go here. And if they can't sign Brandon Nimmo, then they'll go after Cody Bellinger, unless Bellinger's already signed somewhere else. Then. We don't know. But I find it fascinating that other people, just regular, who are your sources, are going, oh, this guy's the guy. He's the man. Because he got that right, and he got that right. I'm like, come on. Come on, be reasonable. Come on. And even if Bellinger does sign, this guy on Twitter knew? How did he know?
Are you that guy, Hebsy? Is that one of your burner accounts?
No, but you got to admit, if you have nothing to do and you're bored, you could fuck up Twitter and just have such a good time. You could have such a fun time.
Right.
Because all you got to do is get the first one right. And then, I was the guy.
But like you said, you could tweet
I was the guy.
and just delete the one because no one's paying attention.
Nobody else had it.
Right.
Right. It's like I'll tweet, so-and-so is going to hit a home run on this next pitch.
Right.
That's different. I have no inside knowledge. I got a feeling.
You're guessing.
I don't have anything. I'm going to get. Now, when he hits the home run, I have every reason to go, told you, I knew he was going to hit the home run.
I called it.
Because he hits fastballs with 3-2 counts, blah, 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 and his anything.
Right.
And so for 5 minutes or whatever, I'm the man. I called it.
Right.
All right. Until my next prognostication. And then nobody ever heard from me. So what I'm saying is the Twitterverse is filled with people who predicted correctly a trade or something was going to happen. Right. And then we're never heard from again because their next prediction didn't work. And, it's not like, it's like when I'm watching the games on TV and now it's in my head now, everybody's got the betting line. It's like, oh, you can still make a bet. You can still make a bet. You can still make a bet. And I'm thinking, oh man, you're using house money. You're playing with, that's not your money that you're betting going, oh, I have Minnesota plus 190. It's not your money. It's the FanDuel's money or whoever's money that you're playing with, right? You're touting people. And it's just sort of a constant, like, why do I want to bet this game now? Why would I lay $1.90 to win $1 on this game now? Like, I just want to watch the game unfold.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway, if Cody Bellinger signs a multi-year deal, multi-year deal, this guy's a genius. He's going to have thousands and thousands of Twitter followers. We don't know who or what he is. We don't even know it's a guy. We don't know anything. Okay. It's someone.
And I would argue, even if Bellinger signs, this guy is probably,
we don't know. All I know is he's following 2 people.
Right.
2. Do you know that the tweet of God, who has like 7 million followers or whatever, God follows 1 account. 1.
Which one?
Justin Bieber. I swear, go look it up. That's what I love. I like looking to see who this person's following. Like, who interests this person?
Right.
It's too funny. In tennis has been awesome. Here, this is the problem again when there's so much sports going on is if this was happening at any other time, we would be going fucking nuts. Denis Shapovalov and Vasek Pospisil fell behind early and lost the opening set, but rallied to win their doubles match at the Davis Cup yesterday and eliminated Germany. And Canada is now in the semifinals of the Davis Cup. This is huge. We are a fucking tennis playing nation. This is huge. Woo. Shapo lost the opening match, the singles match, but Felix Auger-Aliassime won his singles match, coming back from a set down, which set up the all-important tiebreaker, the doubles. And Canada's duo lost the opening set 2-6 and then roared back to win and book their place. I was going to say punch their ticket, but of course we don't do that. Scan their pass into tomorrow's semifinals against Italy.
Woo!
Against Italy. And I think there's something. I think Berrettini of Italy and Felix Auger-Aliassime are dating sisters.
Wow.
Or cousins or something like that. There's a connection there. I don't know if it's still the case. I haven't been following the social aspect, but I do know that a year ago or so that Berrettini and Felix they're tight because they're in the social circles.
So they've been on double dates together.
It may be, but they're pals. See, most of the guys, the way I understand it, are friendly with each other in tennis. They'll go out for a beer after the match.
Sure.
Like a lot of times, it's like, when they come to the net to shake each other's hands and they pat each other in chest, they might say, see for a beer later, that kind of a thing. Really?
Well, they travel together. It kind of makes sense, right? Like a familiar face.
But more so than the women, I'm told. The women tend to stay within their own group or camp compared to the men.
Brian has confirmed your news about who's dating whom there. The TMZ news in tennis there. Brian says you're correct. They're dating whatever sisters or.
Okay, they're dating what? Twin sisters or
I don't know. Brian, tell us who's dating who. He says they are.
Yeah. because what I'm thinking is when they show shots in the stands and they show the sisters sitting there, right, and one is obviously rooting for her man and the other sister's rooting for her man, right? Now, are both these women Italian? If they're both Italian, for example, like The one that's dating Felix, is she rooting for Italy or is she rooting for
Oh,
her
and
man
she
who's
can make
Canadian?
sure he's very tired for his match.
Don't even. All right. Meanwhile, before we go, if you didn't see the Alek Manoah sit-down interview with Serge Ibaka on his cooking show, you got to watch it. It was on Sportsnet the other night. It was hysterical. Okay, so the deal is this, is that Ibaka is cooking some wild stuff. And the deal is this. He's going to ask Manoah questions. He's going to ask him questions. And he needs Manoah to answer the questions honestly. And if Manoah refuses to answer the question honestly, he's got to drink this freaking concoction, cricket tea, like tea with live crickets in it. Okay? And if he does answer the question honestly, then Serge has to drink the cricket tea with the live crickets in it. It's hysterical. And so he says, so Manoah says, okay, man, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to answer honestly because, I'm going to answer honestly. So the first question he asks him, of which they had taken a clip out of and run prior to it as a teaser, out of context, was Ibaka says to Manoah, who's the biggest cheater in baseball? And Manoah says, I'm going to be honest with you here, with no hesitation, it's Gerrit Cole. And I'm like, whoa, this is great. This is great. But when you see the original, it's out of context. You don't know. You're going, wow, that's being honest. The reason he was being honest was, had he lied, had he not given an answer, had he not named a player or something, he would have had to drink this fucking cricket tea with live crickets in it. Okay. Yeah. But since he told the truth, okay, and it's going to come back to bite him when they ask, because believe me, this is great bulletin board material when you call Gerrit Cole the biggest cheater in baseball. The beauty of it is that the reason he did it was, he didn't want to have to drink this tea, but Serge, because of the deal, Serge now, he has to drink the tea with the live crickets in it. He has to, because Alek answered honestly. It was hysterical. And then later on, they make an edit. And later on, Serge is making this sushi. He's preparing this sushi. He actually didn't make it. He sort of prepared it, or they told him to wrap it up or whatever. And this sushi is pretty wild stuff. And in it, he explains that there's fish sperm. This is Ibaka, right? He goes, there's fish sperm in it, right? Yeah. And so now he asks Manoah another question, and Manoah answers it, honestly. And now Serge has to eat this sushi that he made that has fish sperm. And as he's eating it, Manoah is so fucking funny. Manoah says, "Is this the first time you've eaten sperm?" And I'm laughing my ass off. I can't believe they left it in. They're cracking up, the two of them. They're cracking up. Manoah is cracking up. I'm going, this guy's funny, right? Yeah. This guy is funny. Is this the first time you've eaten sperm? I mean, oh, come on. And the producers left it in, and they left it, and they got by the censors. I'm hysterical. Serge is gagging on the sushi. Manoah is laughing like, oh my God, I got to hang out with this guy. He must be great with practical jokes. He's so funny. Absolutely hysterical. And there's you have to see this. You have to see this show. It's whatever, Cooking with Serge, or, what would you like now? I forget what the show is called. Oh my God. So funny.
I'll check it out for sure.
And Manoah is just, he calls Cole a cheater. Okay. Gerrit, he says, oh yeah, he's a cheater. And then he's, this is the first time you've eaten sperm. Ibaka's asking him about baseball. He says, you only work every 5 days? Manoah's like, well, no. He says, you're not an everyday player, not a starter. He goes, well, no. And he's trying to explain to Ibaka. And I'm like, oh, you're kidding me, right? Ibaka doesn't know this. Right. He's explaining to him. He says, no, but I work off, but I don't go in the game. He goes, well, that's not work. Ibaka says, you just work every 5 days. It was really funny. It was funny. Good okay, stuff. My friend, look, you're off to Montreal. I'm off to Pinehurst. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. And for our American friends, enjoy your Thanksgiving, except for Kyrie Irving. Have a fantastic weekend. That's it for episode number 311 of Hebsy on Sports. And thanks to Toronto Mike for production and inspiration. Hit him up at Toronto Mike and listen to his excellent podcast. He's got some tremendous guests. I got some catching up to do there. And thanks for allowing us into your headspace. No show next week as I'm on holidays, and I will not be disturbed. I'll be on the golf course. God willing, we're back December 9th with a brand new, fresh episode of Hebsy on Sports. Until then, so long for now.
I had the wrong theme going. I hit the wrong button. But here we go. The proper theme. I've never done that.